Hello, you stunningly gorgeous people of the internet. It is I, Anna, and today we're going to be talking about the 100 greatest books of the 21st century as recorded by the New York Times. Full disclosure, I started to go through the list independently on my own over my morning joe, my morning coffee, and I got down from 100 to about number 60, and I said, oh wow, I should probably make a video about this. This is gonna be fun. In those 40 or so books from the countdown, I realized I read about one of them. So if you haven't read a single one of these, don't feel humiliated. As someone who talks about books on the internet, I also haven't read a lot of these, it seems like, though I've read some of the authors, and yeah, don't feel bad if you haven't read these books. It really doesn't matter. I say let's just get right into it. I'm going to have a little screen recording. Let's see if I can do it. Okay. And we are on. Let me get myself a little bit more comfortable here. So, we're looking at the 100 best books as voted by 503 novelists, nonfiction writers, poets, critics, and other book lovers with a little help from the staff of the New York Times Book Review. There we go. There's our full disclosure of who it is. Okay, number 100, Dennis Johnson, Tree of Smoke. I have not read this. But I was going to pick up Jesus' Son the other day. I was in a great thrift store in Troy, New York, and they had a beautiful version of that novel, and I didn't pick it up because I'm on a book buying ban right now. Though I'm very intrigued to read Johnson's work. Ali Smith at 99, How to Be Both. I haven't read anything by Ali Smith, and I'm a little bit nervous because I feel like it might be too intelligent for me. It doesn't seem like it's very stimulating for me, from what I've gathered from other people's reviews and things like that. And right now, I'm looking for novels that are gonna really move me in a direction. Anne Patchett at number 98. I haven't read anything by Anne Patchett, though I'm very interested to read The Dutch House. Men We Reaped by Jesmyn Ward, number 97. I should also illuminate that I want to look at the exact dates that these were published, like 2013, and see kind of which ones are early 2000s and which ones are mid 2000s, which ones are 2020s, which is crazy to think about. So this is a memoir, which I love that they're including memoirs and nonfiction in this, just under the umbrella of book, as opposed to novels, which I have a tendency to use novel as an umbrella term for everything that has pages in it, so I apologize. Sometimes when I talk, I forget to moderate myself, so I'm sorry. Wayward Lives, Beautiful Experiments, 96. This book has been highly suggested to me. I made a video, 100+ recommendations from my subscribers, and this book, I remember having a great conversation with somebody in the comments about this. I would love to read it. Oh, Bring Up the Bodies by Hilary Mantel. I have never read anything by Hilary Mantel, and I'm sorry. I'm doing great so far. Zadie Smith, On Beauty, number 94. I also haven't read this by Zadie Smith. But I love Zadie Smith. I think that she's a fabulous writer and a very classy individual. Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel, the longest name in the history of names. Get rid of one. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. Please don't do that. I also haven't read this. This was in 2014. Why do I feel like this is so much more recent? God, that's crazy. Elena Ferrante, The Days of Abandonment, number 92. No, I have not read that. I'm sorry. I kind of get all of Ferrante's books confused. I'm gonna be very honest. I've read one, which we will get to. I have a very kind of frayed relationship with her novels. I feel like they're very beautifully put together. I think that they're a classic establishment of womanhood and girlhood and friendship, but I do lose track of which one's which. That was in 2005? Wow. The Human Stain by Philip Roth. I'm surprised that's in 2000, so hitting right at that cusp of the 21st century. I haven't read that, but I've read a book by Philip Roth before, and I'm forgetting the name of it. I'll put it here. maybe it'll make the list. I don't think so. I did start to watch the movie with Nicole Kidman because I love Nicole Kidman. I used to not like Nicole Kidman, but then I watched her Vogue 73 questions or 75 questions, and she said that her favorite artist was John Singer Sargent, and that's my favorite artist. So we have this kinship that is unbreakable now. The Sympathizer at number 90. That was written in 2015. Why does that just feel like it was yesterday? I started to read this actually, and my copy got destroyed by a flood that I had in my apartment, so I had to throw it out. My friend gave this to me and he said that he absolutely loved it. And now there is an HBO show about The Sympathizer, and I still haven't read it. I just remember liking it. I remember the first couple of scenes that I started reading, enjoying. I remember feeling like, is this a comedy? Is this not a comedy? What is this? But I've started reading that, so that's one, okay? The Return, Father, Sons, and the Land in Between, 89. Wow. The father he lost to a 1990 kidnapping in Cairo functions equally as absorbing. Wow. That sounds amazing, actually. I want to read that. Oh, hello. Oh, I can add that. Okay. Oh. The Collected Stories of Lydia Davis. No, I have not read that. I'm sorry. I haven't done it. Detransition Baby, number 87. I also haven't read that. I feel like I'm one of the last people on the online book world that has not read it, and I apologize. I just didn't have a copy. I just didn't read it. Frederick Douglass, David W. Blight, in 2018. This is a biography. Though Douglass famously wrote 3 autobiographies of his own, which I have, which I plan to read very soon, there turned out to be much between the lines that is illuminated here with rigor, flair, and refreshing candor. Interesting. So maybe after I read the autobiography of Frederick Douglass, I could pick up that. George Saunders, that's a beautiful cover. Wow. I haven't read anything by George Saunders. I'm sorry. The Emperor of All Maladies, a biography of cancer. Oh. As a trained oncologist weaves together disparate strands of large-scale history, biology, and devastating personal anecdote. Oh, I want to read that. When We Cease to Understand the World. I haven't read that book. Saw it everywhere. Wow. There we go. Okay. Hurricane season. I read this book. I love this book. I think about this book quite often, actually. I read this in the summertime, and I remember reading it in a park and just having my chin kind of hang agape, imagining the scenarios that were unfolding, very witchy and very dark, and it's such a powerhouse. Yeah, definitely love that. Pulphead Essays, John Jeremiah Sullivan, nope, 81, haven't read that. Elena Ferrante, The Story of the Lost Child, again. I don't know which one this is. A Manual for Cleaning Women, Lucia Berlin. I haven't read that. That came out in 2015. I remember seeing that everywhere though, and I did not read that. But it was everywhere. I remember people talking about it. I haven't read any of John Fosse. Oh, that's a new one. Wow, that's a brand new book. But I haven't read anything of his, and it's been highly encouraged that I should, and I should. I definitely should. An American Marriage. Also haven't read this one. Again, I know it's beautiful, and I know I should. Tomorrow. You guessed it, I haven't read it, and it's everywhere. And everybody says it's life-changing and beautiful, but I haven't read it. Exit West. No. A pair of lovers in a war-ravaged Middle Eastern country who find that certain doors can open portals literally to other lands works in a kind of minor key magical realism that bears its weight beautifully. Oh wow, that sounds beautiful. Oliver Kitteridge, Elizabeth Strout. Nope. No. Would you believe it if I said no, I haven't read it? And I like Elizabeth Strout. Something about her hairstyle and the way that her bangs lay on her gentle forehead makes me feel like she'd give a nice warm hug. The Years of Lyndon Johnson, The Passage of Power, 73. That looks like it was published in 1974. You know? Svetlana Alexievich, Secondhand Time, The Last of the Soviets. No, I have not read that book, but I read Voices of Chernobyl, which is all about people who were directly impacted by Chernobyl. I highly suggest that novel. It took me a long time to get through it. Very sad, very dark, but good. I'm surprised that's not on here. The Copenhagen Trilogy. No, I haven't read it. And I know I should. Okay, I know I should. All Aunt Hagar's Children. What is that? The known world forsakes a single narrative for 14 interconnected stories, disparate in both direction and tone. His tales of 20th century black life in and around Washington, D.C. are haunted by cumulative loss and touched at times by dark magical realism. One character meets the devil himself in a Safeway parking lot. Wow, I want to read that. I'm enjoying seeing also the books from like 2006, 2005, 2001, where I was a little bit too young to be able to go into a bookstore and see them and kind of calculate that that would be something that I'd be able to read. 2006, I would still be pretty young, so I wouldn't have picked that up, so I feel like that's something I haven't really taken into account. The New Jim Crow, nope. I haven't read that. That was written in 2010. Wow. The Friend by Sigrid Nunez. Nope. Haven't read that either. And I know that's a great book. And I know I should. It's also like a little tiny book from what I remember. Far from the Tree. Solomon examines the experience of parents raising exceptional children. What? I want to read that. We the Animals. Now a major motion picture. I don't even know of the movie that came out for that. Interesting. Plot Against America by Philip Roth. I see this in every single thrift store I go into, and I know it's a great book. I know it's been made into a TV show. I know I should read it, and I enjoy Roth's writing, obviously. I still haven't recalled what book I read of his, but I haven't read that either. The Great Believers. Yes, everybody loves this book. I haven't read it. I know I'm very bad. Okay, Mary Gateskill. I read Bad Behavior, which I think is the most notorious of her novels. It has that story Secretary that was turned into a movie with Maggie Gyllenhaal. Totally underrated actress. I enjoyed it. I remember that, I think a lot of that taking place in New York City. Or maybe I was just living in the Lower East Side at that point, so I was hyper-focusing everything into that. But this... Oh yeah, set primarily in a 1980s New York crackling with brittle glamour and real menace, Victoria is on the face of it. A story of two very different women, the fragile former model Allison and the older, harder Veronica, fueled by fury and frustrated intelligence. Oh, I want to read that. There we go. Ben Lerner. No, I haven't read anything by him. Demon Copperhead. Everybody's been talking about it. Everybody's been talking about it. Oh, I haven't read it. I haven't done it. I'm sorry. Heavy. Yes, I have read this book. And I feel like I don't talk about this book enough. This is a fantastic memoir. I have associations with this novel. I remember I was having a really bad day and I was listening to this on audiobook and the author was reading it himself. And I remember going on a walk and it was raining and I think I was tearing up and crying a little bit. And I remember listening to this book and it had such a, not calming effect on me, but it had such a deep impact on me in that moment. And I thought that this was a beautiful, beautiful story. Middlesex. No, I haven't read that. I haven't read it. Wow, yeah, 2002. Hello? I just got a strong sounding email. I remember when this book came out, it was everywhere. My grandmother had a copy of it, and I'm sure she still does. Maybe I should pick it up. Stay True. This is a new release, a very new release. I still haven't read that. 2022. Wow, yeah. It's also interesting to me. When we put new books on the list, I'm not taking away, I'm sure this is an amazing book. Every time I make a list of things, I feel like the freshest books that I read immediately make the list, or books that are new releases or things like that. So it's interesting to compile these lists of books that are supposed to be from almost 25 years, and a lot of them are new releases. I'm not saying that they're not worthy of being on the list, but I wonder how much of it is just a kind of immediate reaction to something that you just recently read that's so fresh. Nickel and Diamond on Not Getting By. Nickel and Dimed, not Diamond. Whoa, wrong. On Not Getting By in America. Yeah, I want to read that. A lot of these I want to read are nonfiction. The Flamethrowers by Rachel Kushner. That was everywhere. That was everywhere. That was in 2013. The Looming Tower, Al-Qaeda and the Road to 9/11. Oh, wow. The 10th of December, George Saunders. Again, haven't read anything by Saunders. Alice Munro, Runaway. She just recently passed away, correct? She was like 96 or something, is that right? Haven't read anything by her either. Dennis Johnson, again. He's haunting me on this list. It's very interesting as well to see the repetition of authors, to see the same authors popping up. I know he's a fantastic writer, so again, this is not targeting him, but it's interesting to see the same novelists having multiple books on this list. Kate Atkinson, Life After Life. Can we get life right? Are there choices that would lead finally to justice or happiness to save us from pain? Atkinson wrestles with these questions in her brilliant Life After Life, a historical novel, a speculative novel, a tale of time travel, a moving portrait of life before, during, and in the aftermath of war. Wow, okay. Trust. I read this book. I did. There we go. There's 3 on the list so far. I feel confident with that. I liked this book. I'm surprised because I don't think this is like one of my favorite books that I've read. I think it was really great storytelling. I think it's a great, like, New York City kind of novel, inspecting how people gain and accumulate wealth. But I don't know. I wouldn't say that's one of the best books I've read. Interesting. Again, a 2022 release. But it was good. It was obviously good. The Vegetarian, I read this as well. I thought that this was very good. I wouldn't say that it's one of my favorite books. So what? I'm up to 4 that I've read? Oh, interesting. Don't know that one. Toni Morrison, A Mercy, in 2008. Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. I also haven't read that. But every time that I walk past the Holiday Bar in New York City, they filmed portion of the movie there, and I think of this novel. The Argonauts by Maggie Nelson. Yes, I read that, and this had a very profound impact on my life. In a video that I made about books that kind of made me who I am, this was one of those books. I remember certain clips of writing in this that were really beautiful for me. 5th Season. No. Nope. Don't know that. Post-War. History of Europe since 1945. No, I don't. I haven't read that. A Brief History of 7 Killings. No, I haven't read this. And there's a particular bookstore in Brooklyn that I go to, and every time I see it there, I'm weirdly attracted to this book, and I want to pick it up. And I don't know why. I know that this is good. I know also it's a behemoth of a novel, so I feel like I have to be ready to read it. But I remember that coming out and just taken over. Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan. Yeah, I thought this was a really moving novel. I thought that this was a perfect way to write something short, but have it give you exactly the message that you need. H is for Hawk. No, I actually don't know what this book's about, and I see this everywhere. It's a book supposedly about training a hawk named Mabel, but really about wonder and loss, discovery and death. We discover a thing, then we lose it. The discovery and the losing are 2 halves of the same whole. Okay. Now I know. Jennifer Egan, A Visit from the Goon Squad, 39. Oh my God, that was written in 2010. I've read this twice now. I read this last year in the summertime. Again, I picked up the copy that I had in my parents' house, and I read this when I was very, very young. And it's interesting how much you're able to retain from a novel. I remember loving this when I was young. Loving it, being so obsessed with it. I think I remember I'd rush home after school and I would read it upstairs before and after dinner time. My parents would have to call me and say, Anna, come down, it's time to eat. And I'd be like, just one more chapter. And then I reread it, and it's still good, but I don't think that it holds that weight of mysticism and excitement that it once held. I think it was just such a huge success that maybe that's why. It was a huge book. Yeah, it was a huge book. I don't know. Not a love. The Savage Detectives, yes. I had 2666 by Bolaño at my house, ready to read, and then my friend took it, the one who gave it to me in the first place. So I still haven't read anything by him. And I know it's beautiful. I know he's a fantastic writer, and I will get to him, okay? The Years by Annie Arnaud. What did I read by her? Oh my God, what book did I read by her recently in the last year? Again, I confuse a lot of her books. I like her writing. I just didn't love this book at all. And I read another book by her. And again, I'm confusing it. I'll put them here. Between the World and Me. I just saw this recently at a Goodwill, and I was about to pick it up. And now I kind of wish I did, because I would have read it already, and I would have been able to say, yes, I've read this book. So I don't look so profoundly behind. Fun Home also turned into a play with the same name. Haven't read this, but I've heard nothing but rave reviews of anybody's experience, both with the book and with the play. Citizen, an American lyric. Nope, I have not read that book, published in 2014. Salvage the Bones, also by Jesmyn Ward. I haven't read that either. The Line of Beauty. No, I don't know what that's about. Oh, to be the live-in house guest of a wealthy friend. Yes, I already like that. Yes! White Teeth by Zadie Smith, number 31. I'm surprised it's not higher. This is one of my new favorite books of all time. Again, I've talked about Zadie Smith. I love her as a writer. I think she's so smart. And this is a great book. And written in 2000. I think it holds up really well, actually. Another Jesmyn Ward. Wow. Okay. Road trips aren't supposed to be like this. An adult addict mother dragging her 13-year-old son and his toddler sister across Mississippi to retrieve their father from prison. Wow. That seems really good, honestly. I want to read that. Kind of tortured road trip. The Last Samurai. Wow, this must be is that a new printing of it? I didn't realize that was written in 2000. Goes to show how much I know. Cloud Atlas. Wow, that was only written in 2004? Haven't read it. Americana. Nope, I haven't read that either. I know it was a smash hit. Atonement. Atonement was written in 2002 only. Crazy. I have this idea that was written in the 80s or something like that. Random Family. Have absolutely no idea what that's about. 2003. More than 20 years after it was published, Random Family still remains unmatched in depth and power and grace. A profound, achingly beautiful work of narrative nonfiction. It is the standard bearer of embedded reportage. LeBlanc gave her all to this book, writing about people experiencing deep hardship in their full, lush humanity. Oh, I want to read that. I want to read it. The Overstory. Okay, I know I should go out and touch a tree and read this book, but I haven't. Okay, I haven't. Hateship, friendship, courtship, loveship, marriage. No. Behind the Beautiful Forevers. Ooh. The smash movie Slumdog Millionaire gave the world a feel-good story of transcending caste in India via pluck and sheer improbable luck. Boo's nonfiction exploration of several interconnected lives on the squalid outskirts of Mumbai is sobering. I don't even need to finish. I know I want to read that. Evicted. Poverty and Profit in the American City. Erasure. Erasure. Somebody commented and said, I love the way that she says erasure. And I guess that is like a little issue that I have with saying sure, sure, sure. I haven't read this, but I want to, and I've made that very well known that I want to read that. I read my first Everett recently with the trees, and I like Everett's writing a lot. That was written in 2001, wow. Say Nothing. Okay, I haven't read it, but I want to. I love a murder mystery. I don't love what happens to somebody in a murder mystery. Let the record show. Okay, George Saunders, again, number 18. Haven't read anything by him. The Sellout. I want to read this so badly. Yes. Okay, The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. This is on my Goodreads of books that I want to read. I was talking to some castmates of mine in a show, and I was just asking them what their favorite books were, and one of them said The Psychopath Test, and the other said this book. And I would love to read that. Pachinko, I still haven't read it. Don't come at me. Outline by Rachel Cusk. Go, baby, go. I read my first Cusk this year. I read Aftermath. I thought it was very good, and I thought that her writing was great. The Road. Yes, I've read The Road, okay? I read The Road in high school. I watched the movie with Viggo Mortensen. Very stark, very startling book, very sad. Joan Didion, The Year of Magical Thinking. Yes, I've read this. This was also turned into a play. It's such a sad novel, but I think a beautiful way to examine grief and how you can cope with things stacking on top of you, the weight of just trying to live through something or some things that feel like you're wading through muck to try to come out on top. The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde. No, I haven't, and I remember that being everywhere. Marilyn Robinson, Gilead. Okay, I read Housekeeping. I picked it up, I couldn't finish it for a long time, and then I finally finished it at the end of the year. I like her writing a lot. It's so metaphorical and so just lush in its presentation, but I feel like I got lost a lot. And I have heard only wonderful things about Gilead, so maybe that's the one for me. Never Let Me Go. No, I haven't read it, but I would like to. I read, what's the other one? What's the other one by him? I read the other big one by him. Oh, we were into the top 10, okay. Austerlitz. Oh, I see this and I want to read this. Colson Whitehead, The Underground Railroad. Also haven't read this. Just saw a guy in the park reading it the other day. And I said, that's my sign to pick it up. That seems unfair that I was just talking about this book. Corrections. There's a thrift store in my parents', like near my parents. They have this for $1 in a hardcover, laminated, like it's from the library, stolen from the library. I haven't read anything by friends, and I'm sorry. The Known World by Edward P. Jones, written in 2003. Nope, I haven't read that either. Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel is number 3. Haven't read it. Number 2, The Wrath of Other Sons by Isabel Wilkerson is number 2. I have not read that either. And number 1, I knew that this was number 1 because I'd seen them just talking about number 1 in multiple locations. My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. Written in 2012, that's crazy. I have read that. I think it's a good book. I think it's great writing. Obviously, Ferrante's been able to captivate audiences internationally for years now. And I think that that's a really beautiful way to kind of summon readers, is to just have this trilogy of books just take you on and through these people's lives. It really makes you feel like you're with those characters. It feels like it's more than a book. I would say more than anything, the popularity maybe of that book is what makes it number 1. Do I think it's my number 1? I don't think so. But I think I can get behind why people love that. And I can see how it would garner the votes for number 1. And I'm happy for Ferrante. Whoever she is, I'm so happy for her. Good for you, babe. You got the number 1 book so far of the 21st century, and you're doing a great job. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I will find you. No, I'm just kidding, I won't. So there you have it, guys. The 100 greatest books. I've read, I don't know how many I've read, like 7. That's embarrassing. But don't feel bad if you haven't read them. Use this as an instrument to push through and read them. Use this as an instrument to illuminate new books in your life. Use this as a way to just have fun. See some books maybe you didn't even know about, and see how they're heralded and applauded by so many people. I hope you didn't mind this kind of just sit back and relaxed sort of video. Hopefully it's been fun for you. Maybe you could just listen to this while you're doing some housework, some chores, hanging out, having a good time. Let me know, what are your favorite books of the last almost 25 years? Oh my God. Wow. Well, you guys are wonderful. You're fabulous. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you in the next one.